think outside the box, if you will. I mean, go there, go off campus. Let's think this through. And sure enough, that's where the Mustang was born. When it finally hit, it took the country by storm.
Hi everybody, and welcome to another edition of Cars in Context. I'm your host, John Clor. You know, this is the Motor City, and this is the show where we put cars into the context of your everyday life. We're going to have a real special show today. We've got a special guest. We have Mr. John Park. John, welcome to Cars in Context.
Thank you, John.
John is chairman of the Grosse Pointe Farms Foundation, and he was the lucky man that got to help put on this wonderful show called the Grosse Pointe Concours d'Elegance, which is up at the Farms Pier. But John, this is going to be a really important topic because, you know, Grosse Pointe needs its own car show.
It sure does.
We've done Cars in Context was at the Village Fest car show, and I had a great time with Joel Armitage, and now with this show, we've really got to bring it to the right level. It's a Concours d'Elegance. It's got special cars. We're going to let the folks walk through it with you in a little bit. But first, before we do that, let's find out what's happening in the news. This little first headline, folks, might be a surprise for some of you people, but you know when you buy a car and you're really conscious of fuel economy and you go up to that sticker in the window and you see a label, and the label will tell you what kind of fuel economy that the EPA has rated this car? Well, guess what? Now, even though we're selling, 16 million new cars a year, we sell about 4 times or 5 times as many used cars. In fact, even 40 million units isn't out of the question this year. So what about when you want to buy a used car? There's no EPA sticker about fuel economy mileage. So now the EPA has come up with an idea that they're going to have a used car mileage sticker just like the one you get on used cars. And it comes from the U.S. Department of Energy. And they've approved this label that you can go to the website, and the website is fueleconomy.gov. You go there, you find your car, you click on it, and you can actually print out this sticker. The hope is that the used car dealers will print out the sticker, and that way you could either save it digitally. So you'll have a really good idea when you go used car shopping what kind of fuel economy you can expect. So it never hurts. The labeling is everywhere, John. It's just going to take over the world. That's right. Now, I understand you have a headline there too.
I do. This headline is titled, "New Wiring is Food for Thought."
Okay.
Ford apparently has been making headlines by using more sustainable materials in its vehicles.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
They recently announced that the plastic wire harness in the 2014 F-150 will be reinforced with, of all things, rice hulls.
Rice hulls.
Rice hulls, which is a byproduct of making rice grain.
Okay, so normally you throw it away.
Apparently.
Rice hulls. Okay.
Yeah,
so
right.
what are they going to do with this stuff?
So the company chose to use rice hulls
Okay.
because there's an overabundance of them, and it's just as durable as amazingly enough, as the plastic material it's replacing.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So Ford says the rice hulls will likely be used in other areas of the truck and may even migrate to use on other vehicles
Well,
as
that's
well.
great. Yeah.
Yeah. Other sustainables used in other areas of the truck may even migrate to use on other vehicles, and other sustainable materials Ford now uses include recycled cotton and soy-based foam.
Yeah, we heard about that. Yeah.
It's news to me, for seats and
For
some of
seats.
his
Well, you know,
vehicles.
Henry Ford has had a long time innovation with, he's used soy. I remember seeing a story that Ford actually talked the county into making license plates from soybeans. The problem was in the country, the cows would eat the license plates. Had to get rid of that. Here's another headline. It says, "Who says that cheap doesn't sell?" Now, this story is about that little Chevrolet Spark. You know, Chevy Spark is made in South Korea for General Motors, and it's a tiny little mini car. Okay, it's about as bare bones as you can get today. We got a little picture of a green one here. This thing comes with hand crank windows, no floor mats. It's got one of the smallest engines you can buy in any car, and air conditioning is not even optional, or it is optional. It's not even standard. So, I mean, you get a car really that's just an absolute minimalist kind of car. Now, to the surprise of even General Motors itself, these little Chevy Sparks, you know, and GM's always had a hard time trying to sell their brand of small cars. They are really turning out to be a hot seller. In fact, it's the #2 best-selling mini car in the market next to the Fiat 500. Now, here's the deal. This car sells for the MSRP is about $12,000, a little over $12,000 for a brand new Spark. But the bestseller, the Fiat 500, is about $16,000. So that is a big savings, and it's kind of like flying in the face of what people think. To have a small car, you have to have it loaded. Actually, Americans are turning to, hey, if you give me a new car and it's dependable, I can buy cheap.
Yeah.
Pretty amazing story. Why don't you give us another one of these headlines?
Sure. We're all familiar with apps nowadays.
Oh, yeah, everybody.
With our cell phones and iPhones, etc. Does anyone read owner's manuals anymore? I know I've never read the manual on my car.
Most people, John, I would say probably never even got it out of the case.
Apparently not many people do.
Yeah.
It's likely because most new car owners' manuals are in excess of 400 pages thick.
Who's going to sit and read that, John?
With way too much fine print and a lot of legal disclaimers.
Yeah, although all the legalese got to be in there.
Right. So some automakers like Audi are now using augmented reality for the owner's manual.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, great idea. The new A3 coming out early next year offers a free downloadable app that can recognize over 300 individual features of the car. By example, if you want to know how to properly locate and fill the coolant, you just hold your phone's camera over the engine bay and it will show the information on how to check it.
That's wild.
It's pretty something, yeah.
You know, I have been exposed to an idea. I know that a lot of the automakers are looking at taking your owner's manual and just putting, if you have a screen display, just putting it there and just hit owner's manual and then either let it read it to you or you can scroll it there rather than have the paper one.
Amazing.
Yeah, it makes sense. You know, why carry around a book in your car when you're never going to use it?
Right.
So, well, I've got one last one here, John. You know, a lot is said about the difference between men and women drivers. And I know I've been on the show before. We've talked a lot about this. There have been studies and studies and studies. And even Lauren has chipped in about some of our studies, and we appreciate that, Lauren. But today, we have a study that says even when it comes to road rage, there's a big difference between men and women. Now, Lauren never has road rage, but we're going to talk to you about a company called Insurance.com. They went out and did a study, and they said, now, is there a difference between the way women get angry at people that cut them off or guys? I mean, is there a significant difference the way we react to bad situations? And believe this or not, women were found to be more likely to, you ready for this, John? They're more likely to swear or to flip you off.
Surprising.
Yes. They're more likely than men to do that. But men were twice as likely as women to tailgate you, flash their brights, or even key your car. Unbelievable. Now, the good news is that 3/4 of those polled regretted that they even had road rage. So in other words, at least everybody, no, 3/4 of everybody really feels bad about reacting in a negative way. But more than half had felt bad after they've dinged someone's car in the parking lot. You know, you bam, and oh, and then they drove away. More than half of the people that have done that to you feel bad about it. But only 34% of people feel bad about tapping the brakes when there's a tailgater behind you. So that goes to show you, you know, it's the battle of the sexes, and it goes on even on the road. Well, we're going to come back with John Park. John is the chairman of the Grosse Pointe Farms Foundation, and he's going to talk to us today about the Grosse Pointe Concours d'Elegance right after this. Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Cars in Context. I'm your host, John Clor. Today, we've got John Park, the chairman of the Grosse Pointe Farms Foundation. John, welcome again to Cars in Context.
Thank you, John. Great to be here.
It's great to have you. You know, unfortunately, we were not able to get our camera crew out to the 6th annual Grosse Pointe Concours d'Elegance at the Farms Pier. It was just recent. The weather was a little bit inclement, but we're so happy that John has taken time out of his day to come here and not only talk to us a little bit about the concours and about the foundation, but maybe even show us, give us a glimpse of what we missed
Sure.
by not being at the show. First of all, John, let's go back and let's talk about the Grosse Pointe Farms Foundation and its purpose and the funding and your role on the foundation.
Absolutely. So the Grosse Pointe Farms Foundation was started in the early 80s as a vehicle, if you will, to enhance the city of Grosse Pointe Farms by doing various projects. We have funded and actually in many cases initiated projects all over the city. Wow. Many of those projects have been down at the Pier Park.
Yeah.
And so one of our trustees 6 years ago, Dan Hughes, had the great idea of maybe doing a car show down there in order to get our residents down to the park to see all the wonderful things that we've done.
All
down
the changes
there.
and improvements. Right. Okay.
Exactly.
Great idea.
The foundation has, amongst many projects at the park, which include the children's splash pad, the new community building down there, the front gate and the gatehouse, the new ice skating rink, the warming hut, a lot of projects down at the pier. But in addition to that, we have done projects all over the town, including restoration of the joy bells.
Oh, okay.
We enhanced the hill with new street lights and brick pavers. Our current project, we generally take on a new project every year.
Really?
Right.
Jeez.
And our current project is a new dog park up around the 7 Mile and Mac
Where the
area.
old Kroger site was.
Exactly, right at the end of, or
Nice
right
piece
at the
of property.
rear of that
Okay.
parking lot. And interestingly, and many of your viewers probably don't realize this, that there is in fact a dog park up there. There has been a dog park for a number of years, but it's not much to look at, and it's really kind of been a fenced-in dog run. So we're putting ourselves, the foundation, and the city are committing quite a bit of money in the kind of the mid six figures to make a really beautiful dog park up there.
Now, John, how does the Grosse Pointe Farms Foundation interact with the community? Do you have people that, from obviously from all walks of life, that come up to the foundation, have ideas on things that the foundation could do to make life better in the farms, or is it? Do you have meetings? How does the foundation actually interact with the folks of the farm?
Sure. So, I happen to be chairman of the foundation. This is my third and final year as chairman.
Don't tell me there's term limits.
There are. There are. We have in the neighborhood of, I think currently we have 28 trustees on our board. The foundation typically runs with between 25 and 30 trustees.
Okay.
But we do an annual appeal out to the residents, asking them for their support, telling them again about the various projects that we've done. So for all intents and purposes, like many foundations, we collect money and then we look for ways to spend it to enhance the city.
You know, people don't realize that they always look to the local governments to be in charge of that, but it's always so empowering to have a foundation like the Farms Foundation that's connected with the community by people that make up the community that can take on a project that really has not, it's not really a role of government to do that.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. Although we do take, we do get involved with the city. The city has come to us and asked us if we would support various projects of theirs.
Okay.
For instance, the foundation paid for the update of the city's website recently, which was a dramatic difference from the way it was. Shane Reeside, the farm's city manager, attends all our meetings. The foundation meets quarterly. We have an annual meeting in June that's open to all. You can be a member of the foundation by contributing to the foundation.
Awesome. Yeah. Now, of course, this is Cars in Context, we were naturally drawn to the concours. You know, folks, if you weren't aware of it, this is now the 6th year that the concours has been held. And a lot of people, it's a very quiet, unassuming show. From what I was led to believe, it was free. As long as you're a resident, you come up with your car. and there was no fee to get into the Farms Pier. Tell us a little bit about, I mean, I love local car shows because what happens is there's a certain sense of pride in the area there. This is a huge automotive area. A lot of the people that are in the farms and in the Grosse Pointes have had careers within the auto industry. The entire Grosse Pointe area is deep in history.
Sure.
So you guys, how did you set this show up at the pier? Do you have like a judging? Is it like you just bring a car? Are there classes? I know I see cars were just rolling in. Now, even though this year, John, WMTV was not able to bring our cameras there because of the rain, it did just drizzle on and off. Looked like they drove all the way down Lakeshore. Where did you first?
Yeah, so what they do, we invite the residents to bring their cars, and they assemble at the park around noontime.
Okay.
And once we get them all in line and ready to go, they take a quick trip up Ross, down Grosse Pointe Boulevard, back down Fisher, and then down Lakeshore.
So it's a mini parade, John.
Yeah, it is.
It's a mini parade.
So we get we pay for some press, some local press. We get some pre-press, but for all intents and purposes, I think we had in excess of 60 cars this year. For all intents and purposes, it's word of mouth. We have posters that we put around town. And as you mentioned, it's mainly residents who and it's not open. You can bring a car. You don't have to be a Grosse Pointe Farms resident. You have to be a Grosse Pointe resident.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the concourse itself is open to all the Grosse Pointes, and it is free.
So it's not mark or vehicle specific. You can have any year, make, or model.
Right.
And it's not where you had to meet certain parameters to.
None at all.
Now, the idea of a concourse, I love the idea of a parade, first of all. Assembling, folks, it's just so cool to be able to, on a Sunday afternoon, to all of a sudden say, hey, look what's going on over there, and there's a parade of old cars, and the mix you have is rather eclectic as well.
Very.
So it ranges everything from tin and brass cars all the way to muscle cars. And now, is there a limit to like a modern car, maybe a modern, like a Viper or a Corvette?
We don't put any limits on what the Grosse Pointers can bring. And as you say, it's very eclectic. We get everything, anything and everything. This year, for the first time, as you mentioned, this is the 6th year we've done the concourse, but this year, the night before, was the first year we did a preview party down at the park.
That's always fun.
Yeah, it was fun, and we do that in front of the community building down there. Now that is something you pay to buy a ticket to come for that, and the proceeds of that will go to the dog park this year. And GM was one of our sponsors, as a matter of fact, for the preview party, and consequently they arranged to have about 10 cars down there for the preview party, and we had a wonderful turnout. We had in excess of 200 people.
That is excellent. Now, if you haven't been down to the Farms Pier in a while and you haven't been in there, the improvements there have been dramatic. I mean, I remember several years ago when the pier was hit with was it a tornado?
As I recall, it was a straight line wind shear or something like that, and it knocked down a tremendous amount of trees.
It tore up the park.
Right, and actually the foundation, the Farms Foundation, paid to put a lot of money into the pier to reforest the park.
Yeah, part of the appeal of park, you don't want to pull into just concrete, and the park should be like a park setting.
Right.
And getting that back on its feet was huge. But for a concourse, now you had to have people that were there just to attend and watch, so they would park in the regular parking lot. Where did you hold the elegance?
Yeah, so there also is an entrance at the Farms Park to the left of the main entrance where the new skating rink is.
Okay.
And so everybody would park in the parking lot and then enter through there.
So you can get up off the concrete there and park on the lawn.
Right, and then we had the cars effectively in a semicircle around the walkway that kind of runs the perimeter of that part of the park.
Wow, how cool is that?
We had free hot dogs and pop and chips.
Wow.
And due to the weather, which is kind of drizzly, we still had, I believe, in excess of 500 people there.
That's amazing. Now, what else? So people can come in, park the car, and walk through the concourse. It looks like there was nothing stanchioned off. owners were there to answer questions. You can get up and close and personal to some of these cars.
Yeah, absolutely. The owners tend to be very proud of their cars and love to talk about them. So the owners tend to stay near their own car
Okay.
and answer questions of people that go around.
So what other things, so you walk around the car show, was other parts of the park open and accessible to
Sure.
take a look, to tour the facility?
Oh yeah, the whole park was open. We don't provide tours of the
No.
various things that we have helped fund. But yes, the park is open. I saw kids in the playground while this was all going on. Yeah.
So when Dad's out looking at talking to a gearhead, the kid can go have some fun on
Sure,
the playground.
absolutely.
Now tell us, this is the 6th year. Has the Concord Elegance had a judging system, or is there a popular vote? I mean, or is it just a meeting type of a show?
We typically do we do a popular vote. We
Okay.
did in fact do that this year. I honestly don't know who won.
Okay.
But it's a vote that voluntarily the attendees can put into a fishbowl,
Okay.
and then we tally them up.
You know, folks, I really have to commend the foundation for that, because a lot of car shows, I travel the country and I'm at car shows all the time, and a lot of people that have club-sponsored car shows will say, you know what, I'm not going to bring my car this year because it seems like the guy who knows the guy in the club always wins the award. But when you have a popular vote, the attendees come from all over town. They may not know who you are. They just see your car. Kids can vote. Teenagers can vote. So it's not the gearhead that's voting. It's the ability for this car to really have a mass appeal.
Yeah, absolutely.
And to win a popular vote, it's got to be very special for anybody that would bring their car down to the Concord.
For sure.
Now, how long would the thing I know? I guess you assemble the cars for the parade around 11:30. You get into the Farms Pier Park around noontime. How long did the show run?
Generally till about 3 o'clock.
So you got a couple of hours.
So everybody has a hot dog, walks around, and by about 3 o'clock, I think everybody's seen the cars, and
Oh, wow.
and we kind of wrap it up around
that
that.
is so now we do apologize, John, for not getting our cameras there this year. But next year, do you fully expect to keep this Concord?
Oh, absolutely. We fully intend to do the preview party the night before as well, given the attendance this year, and we'll make sure that you're there this next year for
now,
sure.
if someone was interested in getting information, the best place for information about not only the Concours but the foundation is where, John?
You can go to our to the city's website.
Okay, the new website.
The new website.
That's right.
And there's a separate tab for the foundation, and tell you all about us and the various projects that we have supported over the years. And generally a month or so before the concourse, there's information about that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to do our best to try to promote this, and we want to see you and your car from the Grosse Pointes. You know, we've always talked about when we did the Village Fest car show, bring your car out of the garage. We know you love it, but this is the one time I think that you deserve to shine it up and get it out and let people see it and enjoy it. And for you, John, and for the foundation, it's for a really good cause.
It really is.
Now, you come out
Absolutely.
to support the foundation. Plus, do you find that people that are involved with the car show have generally find some interest in the foundation and can become more active?
Yeah, I think part of what we're doing is also for the community to gain a better understanding as to what the foundation's all about and the various things that we have done. So it's an awareness. Part of the origination of the concourse again was to get people down to the park to look at some of the projects that we've helped support, but also just a general awareness of the foundation.
That's really great. Listen, John, thank you, Jan.
Thank you.
Oh, we appreciate it. Folks, we want you to make sure that you look into attending the 7th annual Grosse Pointe Concours d'Elegance. You can check with John's foundation, the Grosse Pointe Farms Foundation, at the Grosse Pointe Farms website, and we want to make sure we see you there so that we can see your car. It's another example about how cars and the fellowship that it's built around the car industry really helps a community. People can bond to it. But there's, John, a special part of the show, which we want to bring you right now. This part of the show is called Pride in My Ride. And of course, I bet you had lots of people that had pride in their ride by bringing the cars to the foundation. And this is the part of the show where you send me a picture of your car and telling me why you have pride in your ride, and I'll put it on the air and show the rest of the world just by sending it to me, jclor@carsincontext.com. Now, John, you brought in a special photo of a special car.
I did.
And a special owner. Let's take a look at this. Now, what is this?
This is a Hupmobile, And the gentleman standing in front of it in period clothing, as you can see, his name is Bill Heller, and he actually is the grandson of the founder of Hupmobile.
Oh, you're kidding.
Yeah.
So that is the result of his family's business. I love that sweater,
Isn't that beautiful?
the cap, those golfing bloomers. Those are just too cool. Argyle socks. It goes with the car. Wonderful Hupmobile by Mr. Heller.
Bill Heller.
Bill Heller. Bill, thanks for sharing that wonderful car with you. And folks, again, if you have a car you'd want to see on Pride My Ride, send it to me, jclor@carsandcontext.com. But you know, there's more, John. This is the part of the show now where we ask Lauren Parrott, Lauren, is there any way that Cars in Context has some viewer mail? So let's ask her, Lauren, does Cars in Context have viewer mail today?
I'll bet there is.
Oh, there is.
It is.
Oh, thank you, Lauren. And look how nicely she put this together for us. You're
Absolutely.
wonderful. Thank you. Okay, well, what we'll do is we'll read a couple of these. John, why don't you start with this first one, okay?
Sure. This question comes from Kenny V. in St. Clair Shores,
Okay.
who watches Cars in Context on AT&T UVerse Channel 99.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Dear Cars in Context, after watching the original Batmobile sell at auction this year for $4.6 million,
Wow.
I thought I had seen it all, but at the Comic-Con convention in San Diego this summer, I saw that someone is now selling a new Bat truck. Can people actually buy one?
So the Batmobile, George Barris's Batmobile, is too cool. 4.6 million is crazy. But who would make a Bat truck? Oh, I see it now on the screen, folks. That is the Bat truck. 50 years. Look at John. It's got the
Wow.
black paint, just like the original Bat. The red trim. Remember how the Batmobile had that?
Uh-huh.
And it looks like here it's based on a 2012. That's a 2012 F-150. Of course, folks, we would expect this to be coming from Los Angeles. Galpin Ford, the biggest Ford dealer in the United States and in LA, is offering that through Galpin Motorsports.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, folks, if you really need a Bat truck to go bat hauling,
Didn't know there was a Bat truck.
I think prices start around $60,000 for your
Wow.
Bat truck. So if you wanted to buy that and bring that to the Grosse Pointe Concours d'Elegance next year, that'd be kind of cool.
I'll think about it.
Okay. All right, I've got one. I'll take this one. This one comes to us from Joe P. He lives in Grosse Pointe Park, and he watches Cars in Context on Comcast Cable Channel 915. That means he's watching us in HD.
I
when it's
see.
915.
Good.
It says, Dear John, I drive a new Dodge Durango, but a friend of mine who works at Chrysler told me he's heard the Dodge brand will be going away soon. Do you know why this rumor is going around town, that Dodge is going to die? Well, I do know this, Joe, that some journalists around town have mentioned there's been some rumblings, unconfirmed reports that Dodge as a brand is on the verge of extinction. Here's why they're saying it. It's kind of like Mercury. When they didn't see them feeding the Mercury product line, people got worried. So if the company's not putting products in, the rumor is that Fiat Chrysler is not going to replace the Dodge Avenger or the Grand Caravan as a Dodge next year. They're not going to replace them. Those are two huge vehicles for Dodge. And they're also saying that there's some other Dodge products that are out there now that they're going to become Chryslers. They're going to name them as Chrysler. So when that happens, you kind of start, that's what starts the talk. That's what starts the rumors that Dodge may be going away. We're going to follow that for you here on Cars in Context, and if we hear things like that, it just means that Dodge will be another collectible. That's, again, another car that needs to come to the concourse.
Yep.
Again, John Park, Chairman.
Thank you again for having me.
Thank you. We
Yeah.
really enjoyed your time. We will definitely be there next year, and folks, we hope that you're there as well. And until next time, remember that knowledge is power. I'm your host, John Clor. Thanks for watching.